Hey guys, welcome back to the Wood Metal Workshop. We're back on the 98 Ford Ranger, working on the front bumper today. If you remember from the last video when we took the old front bumper off, you can see that there's some front end damage. I did a little bit of work with the pipe wrench and the hammer and straightened out the horns a little bit, or the mounting points. Now it's time to go ahead and design our mounting structure to hold the bumper to the truck. Still kind of working through that and deciding how I want to do it. Alright, this is the part that was damaged. These were bent back and twisted back and bent back a little bit. So I've got them pretty much straight again. They line up, the inner ones line up pretty darn good. This outer one's still a little bit off. I'm going to do a little more tweaking on it. A little hammer work and we'll get it lined up. Oh, what I'm thinking is that we'll make a plate that'll bolt onto here, do a captured nut, and then weld a piece of tubing on to bring it out to the front of where we're going to have our bumper, where the front skin is going to attach. And both these planes, and that way we can have everything will be perfectly straight across the front. We can adjust those length of tubes to get everything exactly where we want it. So that's my thought process here. I'm going to look and see what we have to make these plates out of. I want them fairly beefy. Alright guys, I found a piece of 3/8 inch plate here, cut off. I'm going to get it cleaned up. Got some rust and a little burr on this edge from where it was cut. And we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up, marked out, drilled, and then cut. Or cut and then drilled, because we got to clamp them in place and mark them. So safety first. I'm going to switch over to my safety glasses. Looks like 2 inches is going to be good. We'll go ahead and get this marked out. 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, first thing that I am going to do is I am going to mark this. This is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Same with these. I'm going to mark them 1, 2, 3, and let's go a little better. 3 and 4. Now these are slotted holes. I'm not going to make the slotted holes. We're going to drill a hole about center of each one so we can put a captured nut in there. Okay, took a quick look through my cabinet, found some 1/2 inch bolts that we can use for mock-up, 1/2 inch nuts that we can use for our captured nuts. So these will get replaced with grade 8 bolts when we do our final mounting, but I don't like using the grade 8 hardware for mock-up because you get weld BBs and heat and everything else all around them, and I'd rather damage a number 2 bolt than a grade 8. So we're going to drill these out. We'll go slightly over 1/2 inch. Perfect hole. Alright, we got the plates bolted in place. Kind of have to now figure out how far we want the bumper to come out and get some tubing cut and get it tacked into place. 5 inches is going to be pretty close to where we want it to be. So I'm going to get some 2-inch square tubing and cut us 2 5-inch pieces to start. We'll get these lined up on these two. Little trick on welding these. When I'm welding them, I'm putting the stinger, putting most of my heat into the thick piece and letting the weld puddle flow back into the tubing, because the tubing is only 11 gauge, which is plenty strong enough for this application, but I need to get that heat over here so I get good penetration into the thick stuff and just let it flow back and melt the tubing. So just keep going with the second one here. Alright, gonna let those cool, and I'm gonna put them thick metal down. Big table works as a heat sink. It'll help suck the heat out of there faster so we can get on to the next step in the project a little sooner. Alright guys, while our welds are cooling there, I'm going to get some parts prepped for later in the build, and I got some 4-inch tubing here, need to cut this into quarters. So to cut this into quarters, a nice way to get a straight line, just take a piece of angle iron and it will automatically center on the pipe and give you a straight line, as long as your angle iron's straight. So that gives me a nice straight line to start with. Same here, I'm going to try to avoid the weld seam. I don't want to be cutting that. That's usually harder than the rest of it, so it eats up your tubing somewhat. So you need to split this in half and then into quarters. So I'm going to start by splitting it in half. So let's move over to the bandsaw. Alright guys, our pieces are cooled down and mounted back on the truck. As you can see, I don't know if you can see in the video, they kind of slanting off to the side. I'm guessing that's from the front end damage. So we're going to have to mess with those, but first things first here, I need get myself a piece of angle iron that's long enough to cover this whole area here, and looks like we are probably at 41 inches, but that's a little long. Let's go from nose of frame rail to nose of frame rail here. So 33 inches. So I'm going to go cut that. I'll be right back and we'll get to work. Okay, first thing we have to do, as you can see up there, that got the level on the core support, radiator core support, and the truck is sitting level. So then we'll come down here. And this side's got to go down a little bit, this side's got to come up a little bit, or vice versa. So let's figure that out. Battery's dying, I'm going to switch batteries and be right back. Alright, sorry about that, but at least I caught it before it was dead this time. So this is going to go in here something like this, but I can see that that one's got to come this way a little bit. This one looks like it can come this way a little bit. So we'll start with that. Alright guys, I think I've got the next couple steps figured out. We're going to go ahead and cut some steel and get to tacking. So I'm going to go ahead and nip off a little bit more than that, probably. About there, and we'll be right back. Using the quarter pipe gives it a little bit different look from the last big front bumper we did. So I always like to change it up a little bit, use a little different elements. Stuff that the front of this truck has got a lot of curves to it, and we're just gonna, so this kind of fit into the design. You see it's a little flexy. Once it gets all welded together, it'll be plenty strong for what it needs to be. So just gives us a little bit different look. Got a nice even gap. Alright guys, it's getting a little late. I gotta get some stuff ready for a job tomorrow. So we'll catch you in the next video. If you like what you saw, please hit the subscribe button. And I always like to hear the comments, and if you care to share it on any of your social media, please do. Otherwise, you can find us on Instagram at Wood and Metal Workshop. Catch you in the next video.